Shalom, shalom, welcome, welcome. Today, this week's devotion, this week's motivation, meditation is going to be on the principle of friendship. Sometimes we think friendships are like our friends, right? And this is not the case. To be a friend or to share a friendship is a descriptive aspect of your character. Like to be a friend is to be a certain type of way, and we use this every day in our communication with our children or other people. Sometimes we'll be like, those are not your friends. And we think that friends are people who enjoy our company. Friends are people who hang out and do extracurricular hobbies or activities. A friend is a descriptive uh character about a person. Like it's like if a person is friendly, right? Before the idea of being a friendly person, you would say a friend, right? So we're gonna look at some points of that because I think that a lot of times we don't really attribute being a friend like to our children or to our spouses or to our siblings or to our parents, just to strangers or to people outside of your family. You have to be a friend. You have to be a friend. How Yah is our father and yahushua is our older brother, our high priest, our intercessor. He's also our friend. He refers to himself as our friend. So we're going to look a little bit more into this and meditate within ourselves. Like, how can we devote more strength and energy into being like Yah in regards to being a friend to others, and even in our close vicinity, being a friend in our spousal relationships, being a friend in our parental relationship, being a friend, not like the friends of the world, but a friend like how Yah is a friend to us. But let's take a look. Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs, verse 17, chapter 17, verse 17. It says here, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. This means that a friend, look at the characteristic of a friend. Let's take a look at the Hebrew. The word friend is a companion. It even says brother or fellow or a lover or neighbor, or it even says husband there. And then here for brother, of course, is ak, right? So brother is very specific, like solidified, like a solidified partner, a solidified family member, right? But this is not talking about blood relatives. It's saying that a friend or a person that is in those positions as a close individual, a neighbor. It says neighbor, husband, you know, loves at all times, cares about your well being, cares about the things that you need, cares about those things at all times. And a brother is like a solidified, Ak is like a solidified uh character trait of like this person is your brother. This person is yours, like your partner, right? But it says here, a brother is born of adversity, meaning like when you go through situations together, it says a friend loves at all times. And when you go through situations together, a brother is born, like a family member is born. So a lot of times we tend to throw that title on our blood relatives, and sometimes there's not this aspect of loving one another at all times. Sometimes there's not this aspect of even like going through situations and holding each other up. It's funny. The world says hold each other down, but it's like hold each other up during these situations is what develops the bond of a friend, the bond of a brother. Interesting enough, this is the same thing that happens when we are interacting with Yah. He approaches us as a friend. He shows us this love all the time. And then as we trust him and go through trials and tribulations with them, there's this bond that starts to develop, like he is my father, like he is mine. You see what I'm saying? This is the same development he wants to occur with his people. But it starts with each individual. It starts with each one of us, our mindset. How are we looking at each other? Like just simply associate, like a person that's just there? Are we even concerned with our acquaintances or our neighbors? Because a friend loves at all times the way that Yah does. That doesn't mean that Yah pours out everything on strangers. It means that he is ready to give strangers or people that don't know him what they need. Do we do this? Are we even like this with our siblings? Are we like this with our actual children and with spouses? Do we teach our children to hold on to each other during adversity, or do we shield them and blind them from all the adversity that would have developed a bond in your family? Sometimes this generation is more concerned with leaving children out of the circumstances rather than allowing them to become stronger in it, to allow their mind to become stronger in their understanding. Let's continue to see how the scriptures develop this perspective. Let's go to Proverbs 18, verse 24. It says here, a man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Let me go to the TS 2009. It says here, a man has many friends might come to ruin. I'm not sure why it said show himself friendly. Let's go back. I'm not sure why it says the term friendly. It says here, ra'ah, which is another word for spoil or bring himself down. So this is the context here is talking about a person with many people around them, not necessarily friends that is close to you or friends that is beneficial to your walk, but just friends, associates. It's a general term. Uh, Friends that are just around you. Sometimes we need to understand. Sometimes people are showing the only thing that they can show you. You know, sometimes people, especially those who are not walking with Yah, they can't really show you the depths of what a friend should be. Sometimes a parent, sometimes when we look back in our past, our parents, sometimes they can't really show us what they should have been able to show us because they're not connected to Yah. So it's like to have many people in that scenario, in that situation, where they're not following Yah, but then they want to show their type of love to you. A lot of times that brings you into destruction. A lot of times it brings you into trouble. It brings you into stressful situations. You know, me and my friends walking in the world, it was like whatever, like if they got into a fight, I got into a fight. You see what I'm saying? But a lot of my friends would start fights. It would start fights, and because of my loyalty and love in an earthly sense, I showed it, I gave it to them, and they brought me into situations where I could have got really hurt or ruined, according to the scripture. Let's look at that again. So, what is it that how does Yah want you to be a friend? How does he want you to be a friend? It says here, a man that has a man that have friends must show himself or will come to ruin. I have no idea why it says that. And there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. Let's see if I could look at this one. He that makes many friends is to his own destruction, but on the contrary, but it means like, but on the other side, there's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. So it's interesting how we know who that's talking. It's referring to Yah. It's referring to Yahushua, his son. There's a friend that sticks closer than a brother. It talks about how brothers are developed. It talks about the characteristic of a friend. And then it says that there's one that's closer than all of that. So let's continue to look at that. We are striving to reflect the image and the character of Yah. The things that he showed us, we are trying to develop into that type of person so we can show others the same thing that Yah shows us. Ecclesiastes 4, looking at verse 9 and 10. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. Because if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falls and have not another to lift him up. So here Yah is showing us the importance of having a fellow or having friends or having people specifically that their labor, right? Specifically showing that they're working together, moving together, providing together. And if they fall, one can lift up the brother. So you see the responsibility, you see the love that a friend shows. This is the characteristic that we are moving together to the point where if something happens, I can lift you up. But woe to him that is an isolated, a lone wolf, a person that's just by himself, don't need nobody, can't connect to nobody, unable to submit to the people that's around, that has their best interests at heart. Sometimes it's a matter of discernment. Because they don't know Yah's character in regards to how a friend is, we don't know how to discern the people around us. Having pleasantries, showing a pleasant demeanor is not a friend. It's just a nice person. I'm going to use nice instead of friendly like the scripture. It's a nice person. Yah's not telling us to be nice to one another. He's telling us to be a friend. He's telling us to be loving at all times. He's telling us to lift each other up, to bear one another's burdens, to help instruct each other, to correct and reprove each other. He's telling us to focus on each other the way that he focuses on us. This is what a friend is. And when we go through the struggles and we lift and encourage and strengthen each other up, this is what builds the bond of brotherhood and sisterhood. And this is what creates the family mindset within a group, within the people of Yah. Let's see a little bit more about how it's built, right? Because we looked at adversity in the first verse. Let's see if we can see a little bit more about how friendship is built. John 15, looking at verse 13, it says here, greater love has no man than this, that a man lays down his life for his friends. You are my friends if you do the things which I command you. Now, I want to make this clear. Friends don't do whatever each other say. Friends do what Yah and his son says. A friend, me being a friend to you, I have to be fueled by Yah. I have to be obedient to Yah in order to give you the love and the strength and the support and the encouragement that you need. I need to be receiving it from Yah. So I need to be submissive and surrendered to Yah because he sent his son and his son displayed his love and Yah's love toward us by laying his life down, by giving us love when we didn't deserve it, giving us love when we were down and lifting us up when we were down. Let's go back to Proverbs. Very important to keep this in mind. Don't just think because you're a friendly person that you are being a friend according to Yah's standard. Proverbs 27:9, ointment and perfume rejoices the heart. So does the sweetness of a man's friend that comes of hearty counsel. Hearty counsel. Look at what it says here. Look at what it says. Your own friend and your father's friend, do not forsake them. Right? Your own friend, the people that you know, your fellow, your neighbor, your the people that you see, and even the people that your father knows. Don't forsake them. Don't go to your brother's house in a day of calamity Better is a neighbor that is near than a brother that is far off. This is showing the community. This is showing how the community should be. Like we ought to be willing to serve one another, to help one another, to support one another in our vicinity. So he's specifically talking about the people that your parents know, the people that you know around you. Don't go all the way to your brother's house that you know is going to support you. That's far away when you have the people near you that can help you handle the situation right away. I want to look up this word here for you guys. Hearty counsel, which means like advice, wisdom. It says here, plan is referring to like direction, like how you can have direction, right? And then this word is nefesh. It's like hearty counsel or like advice for your soul, advice for your being, your life counsel. So it says, sweetness is a man's friend. So does the sweetness of a man's friend by advice or direction, wisdom that two friends are given to each other, that two friends pour into each other. And then it talks about strengthening the people around you as a friend, and how the responsibility of us in a community is to show that self-sacrifice and friendship, that focus on your well-being mindset. Like this is what a friend is. So this is what we need to allow Yah to cultivate inside of us, how we view other people. A lot of times we don't have a thought about people's needs if we don't know them. Sometimes we only have a thought when people bring it up. But when we're walking in the street and we see someone, there should be a compassion. Yahushua used to walk in the street and see sick, and it said that he had compassion on them. That means that he looked at them, he saw their needs, and was like, I need to, how can I help with your needs? You see what I'm saying? So this is what a friend is. This is what a brother does. Let's go to just an experience of the closeness of how companions and fellows and family, but this is under the guidelines of serving Yah. So I don't want you to forget the verse that said, if a person has many friends, it will bring them to ruin, because those friends are not referring to people who serve Yah. Those friends are not referring to a community that serve Yah. Those friends are referring to people and individuals that only look out for their own best interest, their own entertainment, that they want to share entertainment with you. They want to share worldly pleasures with you. They want to share distractions with you. They want to share idleness with you. This is what he's saying is going to bring destruction. But a brother that lifts you up in a time of need is a different type of person. Those are the characteristics of a friend. A person who's not wondering, who else can help, but looking at how they can participate in your well-being and not have any thought of themselves. Like, what can I get from this? How come I'm not losing? What am I losing by being a friend and helping this person? We're not thinking about that as a friend. Yahushua didn't think about what he was losing when he thought about us. So it says here, Ruth chapter 1, verse 16, this is her response, right? So the way that she thought about Naomi. Now, Naomi is more humble. So she's kind of like, go your way, go back home. And then a friend or a person who's by your side, it says this. Ruth said, and don't ask me to leave. Like, don't plead with me to leave or to go back to what I was doing. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you stay, I'm going to stay. Your people is my people, and your Elohim is my Elohim. This is always end up in this particular location, in this particular concept, because to be a friend is to follow Yah's instructions, to serve Yah, and to be able to give to someone this type of loyalty and friendship. It can only be fueled by the way that Yah is, the way that Yah won't forsake you, or the way that Yah will never leave you nor forsake you, the way that Yahushua said, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. This is exactly the same reference that Ruth is saying. Wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you stay, I will stay. Your people is my people. Your Elohim is my Elohim. So a little bit more now. Now that we understand the principle, like of how this can happen, how does it grow? How can we apply this type of focus on friendship or on being a friend, right? So it says here, iron sharpen iron, so a man sharpen the countenance of his friend. Many times we use iron sharpen iron. Nobody really remembers or considers that the rest of the verse is talking about a person establishing someone else, a person that's helping develop someone else. I am sharpening someone else. So a man that lifts up the countenance, the being, the disposition. Sometimes when a person is low, to lift that person up is to sharpen them, to make them sharpen their mind by giving them counsel, like we read in the verse before. Our focus is the development of one another. This is how we show ourselves being a friend to another, is by being involved in the development of their life, for them becoming more righteous, more holy, more obedient, more loyal to Yah. This is what you are helping someone else develop. This is what you are pushing them towards. No, as you are pushing them towards Yah, they are pushing you towards Yah. This relationship has to be amongst your children as well. This relationship has to be amongst your marriage as well, and the friendships with the family of Yah. If you are unable to push somebody to Yah and they want to be your friend, you have to put them at a specific category. You cannot put them in the category of a brother because they were there to give you some money when you needed it, or they were there to fix your car. Will they push you to Yah? Are they able to sharpen you? Are they able to lighten you, lift you up, and push you to Yah? This is the major, I would say, question that you would ask when you're trying to figure out whether or not a person is your friend or not. This is the major question. These thoughts, these characteristics, attributes are things that we need to consider to make sure whether or not we are a good friend or brother or sister to someone else, whether we are a good father or mother to our children, or whether we are a good husband, a wife to our spouse. We have to be a friend according to Yah to one another in the community, and starts inside the home, outside the home. The attribute and the principle is universal. So when you are sharpening one another, you are lifting each other up before Yah. Let's go to a couple more verses. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, looking at verse 11. It says here, wherefore comfort yourselves together, edify one another, even as also you do. So it says here, edify one another as you do, meaning like as you do for yourself, edify other people. The word edify, I know many people may know, but sometimes we read over certain things and we gloss over what a word may bring a bigger meaning. Edify means a house builder, to construct, right? To build, embolden, to make someone bold, to restill by building, to repair, repairs of the breach, to fix, to establish, to promote growth, right? This is what it says here. Wherefore, comfort yourselves together, build one another, restore one another, repair one another, even as you do, even as Yah does for you. Very important for us to understand the principle that we are here to comfort ourselves together and to build and repair one another. This is our responsibility for one another according to what Yah wants to see in the midst of his people. Now, Job chapter 2, I want to give you a different concept. Not a lot of times people look at Job's friends and they're like, his friends were putting him down. and stuff like that. But sometimes people don't know the initial motive that they had was not a bad initial motive. It was in a bad intent. Now, what they did with that intent is something different. Look at what it says here. Now, when Job's three friends heard of all of this destruction that came on him, they came from their place. Eliphaz the Temanite, Bildad the Shuhite, Zophar the Nahamite, for they had made an appointment together to come to mourn with him and comfort him. Watch this. When they lifted up their eyes afar off and knew him not, they didn't even recognize him. They lifted up their voice and they wept. See them, they're concerned for their friend. They ripped their clothes and they put dust on their head for their friend. They mourned with their friend. They felt for their friend. They felt the pain of their friend, not directly, but the compassion they felt for their friend's deliverance. And then look what it says. So they sat down with them 7 days and 7 nights. Now look at what it says. They didn't say nothing to him because they saw that his grief was very great. 7 days sitting down with their friend, mourning with their friend, praying with their friend, just so they could be there with their friend. Now, were they knowledgeable on how to address the situation? No. But that doesn't take away from the intent of them wanting to come and be with their friend. They sat down with him, ripped clothes, dust on their head, 7 days, because they know that their friend just lost their children, lost their land, lost their wealth, lost their home, lost their animals, lost their food. So their concern wasn't even about what they had to do or regular life or anything else. Their concern was like about the grief that their friend was in. So when they had the incorrect perspective of telling him how he was sinning and all these things, they were doing it with the intent of trying to find a solution that they didn't have a solution for. So sometimes that may happen. The people of Yah may come to you and they are genuine in their intent to come to you, but they don't have nothing to offer because they don't understand the situation. You see what I'm saying? But the main thing to take from this is that a friend is more concerned about their friend. They mourn with their friend. They grieve with their friend. They give themselves to their friend during their times of need. This is what develops into a brotherhood. You know, I can only imagine the experience that they had with Yah, being rebuked by Yah, asking for forgiveness, repenting together, all of their friends, because Job prayed for them. I can imagine the type of friendship and brotherhood they had after the situation. This is what we need to develop, but it starts with us and figuring out whether we are devoted or giving our energy and time and strength to being the friend that Yah wants us to be to his people. And also controlling the circle that you have, making sure that the people around you have the same intent and motive and desire as what Yah would want for his people to have. And don't be concerned with blood relatives. Don't be concerned with culture relatives. Don't be concerned with any of those things. The only thing we're concerned and excited and strengthened, are excited about having is a person that also serves Yah and is willing to push me closer to Yah. And this relationship is how we ought to be with our spouses, with our children, with our relatives, with our friends, with strangers that say they follow Yah. You want to push them towards Yah. You want to lift them up to follow Yah. So praise Yah. I pray that this is an encouragement, strengthened, and motivated to help us to examine ourselves to make sure that we're being a friend the way that Yah is a friend to us, and that we can show and reflect not only Yah's love to other people, but the friendship that Yah has, we can also show and give that to others. So praise Yah, and Yah bless you and keep you. Shalom.